Oh, hi there. So actually just listening through the first draft of the masters for the new record, new Tense Machine record. Conveniently listening to that and then live streaming on the Tense Machine page. So wait a couple minutes for some people to hop in here. I have confidence people are going to hop in here. See, one person's in here. Actually, I should bring this up on... I always forget to bring this up on Facebook so I can see the chat. Who's in here? Throw some comments at me. Show me the chat. All right, I got the chat open now. How's everyone doing? It's Friday. It's been a very exciting week. Very exciting last 48 hours, I would say, for pretty much anybody over the age of maybe 4 that understands what's kind of going on in the world right now. I say over 4 because obviously because of the this current health situation in the world. There's a lot of schools that have March break coming up, and now the kids are off for another week or 2 or 3 in some places. I felt like, I know when I was younger, like summer holidays, like those 8 weeks we had, it seemed like it went on forever. So I can only imagine what a possible 3-week March break feels like if you're 5 or 6 or something. See, Dell has joined us. How's it going, Dell? Liz has joined us. How's it going, Liz? Jody, how's it going? It's going good. Well, it's going good over here. Well, I guess it's going as good as it can be over here. we're sort of in quarantine over here, / isolation. So I'm sure most people are going to be the next week. It's half joking with the amount of people that are stressing over trying to get supplies, and for most people, I think, especially in larger cities, I'd say a lot of people, you get stuff you need for maybe half the week or the week top. So the idea of maybe not really leaving the house that much for a couple of weeks, that's a lot of supplies that most people need. I know in the city too, like there's a lot of people that don't have cars, and it's like trying to get together a week's worth of supplies, a week's worth of food. I guess you could always just Uber or take a cab or something, but like that's a lot of extra steps and extra planning for some people, and especially a lot of people these days too. Like real talk, a lot of people are living paycheck to paycheck, and when someone's like, yeah, just stock up food and supplies for that doesn't really work with the with the financial situation. Also, just sometimes the home situation too. If you don't have a place to store all these things, I half joke about people going to Costco and buying 60 rolls of toilet paper. It's like some people's apartments or shared living spaces, like you don't have space for that kind of stuff. So feel for people that are stressing over that or feeling the crunch, and hopefully the health situation, hopefully it gets itself sorted. I think it'll be at least a week. I don't want to freak anybody out with my predictions on it. I'm sure my wife's heard enough of me in the last 24 hours. But yeah, I think it'll be a week before things hopefully calm down a little bit. So yeah, it's gonna take a second, but hopefully everyone's okay, and hopefully your neighbors can help you if you need anything else out. So Emily's here. How's it going? Jessica, how's it going? It was good to see you last week. We're down in Windsor, playing with our friends Civilian, which we like to say because some people wonder how to pronounce their name. It's Civilian. It's actually, so you remember, it's the combination of civilian and villain, and they put those together, and that's how they got Civilian. Brian, Don, Bristol, how's it going? Brian saying happy Friday the 13th. Happy Friday the 13th to you as well. It's definitely been an interesting one. That being said, I think I'll remember yesterday. That'll be like one of those days that I'll kind of remember the rest of my life. So there's a lot of craziness that happened in markets, online, work, like it's just been bonkers with the amount of updates, emails. Um, like imagine you're watching your favorite Netflix show and it feels like every 5 minutes, every 10 minutes, there's this new piece of information and things are going crazy again. It's like that's what the last 48 hours have been like. It's like email, you get an update from something and then that gets, that gets changed and gets updated and you get another email from something and it just gets a bit crazy that way. But yeah, I actually wanted to talk about one thing. Um, a lot of bands are, I don't want to say they're struggling yet, but with the amount of show cancellations that have gone on, like not to say the canary was kind of the festivals, when the festivals started to cancel. When I saw that happening, I was like, okay, this could be a domino effect where a lot of tours could possibly get canceled as well, because those big festivals, we think about, like they're so far away, but if there's a shortage of supplies, if there's a shortage of just people to work at these events, or bands get sick, or just there's a lot of things that can happen between now and then. So I think for on their end, it's just kind of eat the loss. I don't know if they'll be refunding. A lot of people are buying tickets for these festivals, unfortunately, but I think on their end, it's just to kind of eat it for what it's worth, because this is kind of this is a unique situation. And I've never, I'm 36 years old. I've never seen something like this before. I've been in the music industry, yeah, for close to, well, close to 20 years now, even though I was a teen. Those were some learning years. But when I started seeing those festivals being canceled, I was like, okay, this could be a domino effect, and this could impact a lot of tours that are going on. And I think it was Pearl Jam was one of the first tours I saw pop up that was canceled. I was thinking, okay, yeah, they're an older band, I get it. Maybe they don't want to go out on the road if they don't have to, and there's an illness going around. But it wasn't long after I think everyone that's a music fan, a lot of people that are on my friends list, I know them from going to concerts, I know them from touring, and a lot of bands that tour as well. And you just started seeing one after the other, just venues closing up for the next 2 to 4 weeks at least. So my heart goes out to a lot of the bands that are touring currently, and they're having to either postpone or cancel their tours. Even on our end, it's like some of the tours that we're pitching for, some of the things that we want to announce. It's like, well, now the brakes are kind of on it, because it's like, are we going? Is it going to happen? And also, being a support band, you're kind of at the mercy of. I don't mean that in a negative way, but you're at the mercy of what the headliner wants to do, and you can't get upset if someone doesn't want to tour because they don't feel safe, or they'd rather be home with their families, or they don't want to take and not just the band. Sometimes it's like it's the crew as well. Some of these bands, they might have 10-15 people all working together to make things happen, and you don't want to put people in a position where they're going to get sick, or they're going to make other people sick, or worse. There's definitely some veteran road dogs out there that probably don't want to get sick. So, it's still it's a rough time for a lot of bands that, especially too, kind of ranting a little bit, but especially too with Canadian bands, or bands that are in climates that we're trying to just get out of winter, because winter touring is not, it sucks. It's bad on the vehicle. It's bad on a lot of people's health. A lot of people get cold and flu when they're out touring the winter. Accidents happen. You're on the side of the road. It's one thing to be, I don't know the Fahrenheit, but it's one thing to be 20 Celsius. It's another thing to be 15 below, if you're stuck on the side of the road. So there's just a lot of things where we're just trying to get through the winter, and we're excited about it being able to finally get back on the road, and now this happens, and we're just like, okay, now we need to wait a little bit. And also, with us being in Canada and the bulk of our touring being in the U.S., it's like, that makes it tricky again, because now what do we do? Because now we gotta wait to make sure the border's cool with people going back and forth. And it's both countries too, because they might have an issue if you come back after traveling around for 2 or 3 weeks. And you talk about no unnecessary travel. Touring is, not to say touring is the complete opposite of that, but definitely when you're touring and you're in different cities, potentially 6 hours apart, like it's not far off of people flying around to different cities. So I can see there's definitely some concerns there with bands touring. So again, I'm hoping the next week there's some more answers. I think the rest of this month's going to be a bit of a gray area. Most things have been canceled. Again, schools, like even the Centennial College where I teach there, I was waiting around to because I was going to message the students for for our class tomorrow, but just waiting to hear if it was postponed or not, or like what was going on there. They ended up shutting down the school for 2 weeks, kind of, at least the way that they worded it, and like that affects people's income. That affects my income. There's lots of people that have gigs that may be canceled the next month. That affects their income. So there's a lot of musicians out there where we look at our main source of income. I'm lucky because music is my main source of income, but it's like people's jobs. They work in events, they work in concerts, they work in the setups, they work in the amount of conferences that have been canceled or postponed recently. It's just like there's so many people, especially when you want that flexibility from work. There's so many people in music that are going to be hurting. If we're not already living paycheck to paycheck, we're going to be hurting pretty bad, I think, in another month or 6 weeks, if they can't kind of get this under control. But that being said, like, I think everyone's kind of in the same boat right now. So I see, Brendo's hopped on here. How's it going, Brendan? See Lauren, see Ashley. I can't remember what show it was, like back when I was a kid, but they had like a looking glass thing or like binoculars. It's like, I see so and so. I think it was a mirror, actually. Yeah. Can't remember what show that was. I'm sure my wife will grill me on that later, what it was. Lauren's saying, so far my work has had over 10 concerts plus a few private events canceled for the next few weeks, and list just keeps growing. I think your House of Blues, Orlando. But yeah, it's like that's tough. Well, not to mention pro sports. It's like, basketball was the canary with that, shutting it down, and then hockey not far after. National Lacrosse League got shut down or suspended. My adult rec hockey got suspended. It's painful. Gemma's here saying university has canceled classes. Yeah, like the thing is, it's the right thing to do, whether people think everyone's overreacting or not. Best case scenario is nothing happens, and then everyone says, "See, I told you so." That was on that side of the fence. That's best case scenario. Nothing happens, and people kind of can amuse themselves for a bit, saying everyone's stupid and you freaked out for nothing. Worst case scenario is if things keep escalating and nothing stops, and then the people on that side of the fence that wanted to point fingers at other people, saying that they're dumb for trying to plan for this stuff or panicking for certain things. That's worst case scenario. So I'm usually on the side of the fence where best case scenario, nothing happens. So that's the kind of side of the fence I'm on. That being said, I did run a couple errands this morning. It was just it's bonkers seeing some of the things people are stocking up on, because I don't think some people have a plan. So Austin Tyler Williams, how's it going? Don, you are better off staying put. At least you have universal health care. Well, yeah, no, we definitely have some healthcare here. That being said, like the notices that we've been getting from from Canadian health officials is kind of like, if you think you're getting sick or you're showing symptoms, it's like, stay put, don't run to ER. Like, we have numbers we can call in with our symptoms, and they'll kind of direct us where to go. Because I imagine if people are having specific symptoms, they would want to send them to specific clinics or to specific doctors, so that you're putting everyone with the same symptoms in the same place, and not bringing someone in with symptoms and having them sit next to somebody who's got a broken arm sitting in a merge, if that makes sense. That being said, too, like, the last place you'd probably want to go, in a way, is an emerge hospital if you're showing those symptoms, because most of those emerge hospitals, most of those emerge departments are attached to the greater part of a bigger hospital, and they probably don't want that in the building as much as they can, or they need to make sure it's kind of quarantined off. So But that being said, like, in our camp, in Test Machine camp, and even management and booking, it's just like it's a really weird vibe right now because we don't really know how the rest of this summer might pan out, and I'll be blunt too. It's like seeing all those festivals that are canceling, and there's a few festivals we haven't seen cancel yet, but I know they're closely connected, and I'm kind of bracing myself to see one of those cancel next week and the rest of them go. I hope they don't, but also for the greater good, I hope that there's enough new information that they can make a proper decision on it. But yeah, it's tough when you try to plan stuff a few months out, and just where we are right now. It's like, even though we're middle of March, I'm even with the pre-sale campaign, and trying to announce some stuff for May and June. It's like that's not far away. So Jeremy Isabel saying this just in: biomedical engineer found antidote, cranking tense machine worldwide is the cure. I don't know what journal published those findings, but I hope someone finds some validity in that. That would be excellent. Who knows? Maybe May 1st the record comes out, and that's cure. That's what people needed. Needed some new tunes in Spotify. How's everybody else doing? I'm just kind of chatting right now. I'll be honest. I wanted to hop on here. As I know a lot of people they've had a rough week, work wise, personally, financially. A lot of music fans have it's been a lot of rough goes. I'm supposed to go see Thundercat next week. I think that's on Wednesday. If you know what a Thundercat is, yeah, look Thundercat up on Spotify. But yeah, I have a feeling that that's gonna be canceled. So a little bit disappointed in that. Actually, my wife and I got quite a few concerts the next couple of months. That's what we do. We like going to see shows. So yeah, so that's kind of disappointing. That being said, for anyone that is a concert fan, one of my good friends, what he likes to do is watch a lot of like pro live filmed like festival concert, like band sets. I just butchered how to word that. He watches concerts that were filmed. A lot of European festivals and stuff. For what it's worth, to get your concert fix, I recommend search some of your favorite bands, live footage, live concerts. You can get some wicked concerts on there, and that might hold you over for a bit. I mentioned a few people. Gojira is one of my favorite bands, and I remember watching one of their I can't remember what European festival it was, but just like the production value on it sounded great. So that's one of the things, right? I may fire that up one night next week. It's a good way to spend 75 minutes if you like live music. It's kind of the next best thing. I think it's better too if you're of the shorter variety, because there's no risk of someone of the taller variety standing in front of you while you're trying to watch a band you like. I was gonna read through a few stuff here. Dell's saying deciding whether to continue Germany tour or not starts April 21st. Not looking good. Yeah, no, exactly. Like there's like that's definitely a more extreme case of bands trying to get out there and tour, because Dell's band The Crooked, check them out if you're curious. Great band. Yeah, they've done some European tours, and it's like, if you go there right now, can you get back in easily to Canada? If I imagine you probably wouldn't fly back and go through the States sort of thing, but there's just a lot of variables there. Take my advice for what it is, but it's like, I'm not sure that's gonna go through. But if you're already kind of set up for the 21st, I don't know if you need maybe a month out to pull the plug on it or to postpone it, so you'd have another week to figure it out. But I think there's too much up in the air right now, especially if you're not sure if people are going to go out to shows and stuff too. I think maybe the timing just isn't working out for that, which again sucks, because it's like, I don't know what the visa situation is for Europe, but it's like there's a lot of things that to go to the States, like even to drive 2 hours to Buffalo to go there. it's like there's a lot of work that goes into making that happen, and the idea of trying to fly across the Atlantic and go tour. It's like there's probably at least 3 or 4 months that goes into planning that. So Zach Cooper, what's up, guy? How's it going? Good to see you. Cindy, how's it going? Emily, kind of having to practice social distancing at work and preparing for. Uh, I can't figure out where the emphasis on which syllable there. On site, yeah. There's the whole social distancing thing. Um, it's it's a weird thing because I'm wondering. I'm like, full disclosure, I plan on kind of staying home the next 2 days. Um, I don't get a lot of time to play video games these days. I think I'm gonna split up my weekend, well, with band stuff, tax stuff, and video games because I don't need to go anywhere. I'm wondering what it's gonna be like next week going out if people are. So I know a lot of people are working from home next week, so I'm curious to see what it's like if you got to run to the grocery store or something. What could be going on? I've got some predictions too on that, but we'll leave that aside. Don's saying Rock Rage is doing online fest. If you are down, shoot an email or message. Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna like this right now. Definitely interested. Actually, I'm gonna say definitely interested. Brennan Brink, shorter variety here. Yes, we're referring to when you're a bit shorter and you're at shows, and then all of a sudden, super tall stands in front of you, and then they bring their friend, and super tall twins show up, and you're just like, can you not figure out that maybe you're going to be in the way? I think a lot of venues should have like they should have a roped off area, so like, not to discriminate, but let's just say if you're over like 6'4", if you're over 6'4", you can stand over here, but if you're not, then you're good kind of everywhere, because there's some people that are just super super duper tall, and they just shouldn't be standing in front of everybody. Brenda's saying, what video game? I just started playing Mario RPG for Super Nintendo. That's my retro game I've been playing. And for Xbox 360, like I feel like I have two retro consoles right now. For Xbox 360, Walking Dead Season 2. I've been meaning to play that for a long time. Clive Barker's Jericho, which is kind of a horror first-person shooter. Meaning to play that for a while. And if I really want to go down the rabbit hole, then there's Far Cry 5. I might dig that up. It's Xbox One, but I'd be willing to spring for that because I love the Far Cry series. And then after that, Grand Theft Auto 5, that's still on my list as well. And then Red Dead 2, but there's enough thing. I probably still have another 15 games I've bought, and I haven't even played yet. I just get them in packages. So there's a few things to do. Now they need to sit and do nothing, hang out. Nicole Hughes, how's it going, Nicole? Nicole is our grant writer, and I want to say our band financial consciousness of what's going on, because she asks really good questions about what's going on with money sometimes because of the grants with the factor system in Canada. Saying, wait, Chris is super tall. Tall people have rights too. They do have rights. Tall people definitely have rights, but not all tall people realize that the shorter people at shows really can't see because they're too tall. And we're trying to give them the rights to we need to have a tall person VIP area. We just need to reword it. And then we'll make it cool. We'll make it really cool for people that are over 6'4" to all stand together and look down at all the shorter people at the concert. That's what we'll do. That's how we're going to sell this. Brenda, Far Cry 5 did it twice. Yeah, I really liked, not to talk video games for a second here, because we can definitely do that. I really liked Far Cry 3. That's one of my favorite games in the past while. Far Cry 4 was really good too, but I've heard Far Cry 5 is awesome again. So, actually, I live streamed Far Cry 4. Yeah, I think it was just Far Cry 4 on Twitch. So, if I feel like I have that much time, I might live stream Far Cry, or not Far Cry 5, but just whatever I end up playing. I wouldn't live stream at Mario RPG. It's not very exciting. and things that make Twitch exciting, it wouldn't really work for it that well. So anyway, those are my plans for possibly the next week or two. Well, definitely this weekend. It's going to be because hockey's canceled too for me. Also, my other teams went in the playoffs the week before, which also sucks because it's like, had we not gone out, then it would just been non-conclusive or inconclusive how our season ended. What's everyone's plans for the next few days? Do we need to talk about toilet paper? Can you talk about that? Let's see. Zach Cooper, Sony movies, concerts, events canceled or postponed. It's crazy out there. And there's no toilet paper. Yeah, it's just like there's yeah, there's certain things I don't want to say in these live streams because I have a feeling that it does like a transcript and will either send this out to people or not send it out to people. But there's not much to do right now. So it's funny how there's a shortage of toilet paper. Brenda working the backstage here at Windsor, or here in Windsor. Cindy's asking, you ever rage quit or rage quit a game while in progress? I don't think I've rage quitted a game. I remember like growing up with like Nintendo controllers. I remember like you'd have those moments where you want to break the controller, like you want to bend it and you're really mad at the game. But I wouldn't do that because then we wouldn't have the controller and just, I would just get mad at it. I would just put all my negative feelings into the controller for a second. But I think the closest thing I've had to rage quitting a game was if anyone remembers the original Resident Evil for PlayStation 1 or PX1 or PSX, depending on what do you want to call it. But that original Resident Evil game, it was late at night. We rented it from Blockbuster, to date myself. We rented it from Blockbuster. I think I had hockey or a tournament that day. It was late at night. I still wanted to play it. Got home. I turned the game on. This isn't a spoiler because the game's been out for, let's say, 20 years now, at least. I got to the first scene where the first kind of zombie you see, and they're eating somebody on like this porch area, and it kind of like turns around and looks at you, and then it gets up, and then you kind of run away, and then it's like in the hall with you. It just turned into a thing, and then it started biting me in the neck, and I died, and then it just says you died. It either says you died or you're dead. And that all happened, and it was late, and I was tired, and I was young, and I just turned the game off. I'm like, I can't do this right now. I wasn't set up for this, because we kind of grew up with video games where, there's that difficulty curve, and in like most games when you're younger, like they're kind of easy for a bit, and then it gets steep and it gets more difficult. But I felt like that game, it just kind of out of nowhere was like, you're walking around, it's creepy. Zombie shows up, eats you, you're dead, game says you're dead, and then that was it. And I couldn't handle that at the time. And so that wasn't exactly a rage quit, but I definitely just said F this, and I pieced out. I wasn't having it. I'm trying to think, because there's been some pretty heated game competitions in studios. I know with the Parabol guys, there's been some pretty heated games of NBA Jam when we're making. So I don't think anyone's rage quitted, but definitely you can hear when someone has mentally admitted like defeat, but the words that are coming out, there's still a lot of trash being talked, and they're not happy about what's going on. So rage quitting games. Liz working at the hospital tomorrow. Physical therapy never ends. Just like a need. You're doing good. Trying to help others. Meaningful work. That is I believe that's one of the secrets of life. So Zach's working and recording the Weekly Beatdown this weekend. Definitely check out Weekly Beatdown. It's part of Canadian Beats. It's online. Tense Machine was on there for a bit. I think we tried to get those Dead Beats numbers on there as well, but Quarantine drinking for St. Patrick's Day as well. When's St. Patrick's Day? Is that next week? I got my schedule. Actually, yeah, it's next Tuesday. So everyone needs toilet paper, and then everyone's gonna need to go to the liquor store, I guess. So what else? What else? What else? Brenda, I have to go out tomorrow. Need dog food. A few other things. Thankfully, no toilet paper. Don saying, have a good night, Mike. See you later, Don. Have a good one. Have a good weekend. Yeah, it's funny with the toilet paper thing, not to bring that up again, but it's just there's so many things, like the way that I shop, my wife shops. When we see things on sale, we just get them kind of when we need, like whether we need them or not, because there's the part of my brain that's like, oh, you're saving money. And you're going to need that anyway, so you might as well just get that now. So sometimes you have stockpiles of things, and you're like, who needs this much of this? And you're like, well, it's on sale, so just get what you need, sort of thing. Other thing I wanted to talk about, it's MS Awareness Week, or Multiple Sclerosis Awareness Week, which, for those of you who don't know, I've been diagnosed with MS. And I think it's funny that I'm diagnosed with MS and it's multiple sclerosis, and for someone who mumbles like I do, sclerosis is a really tough word to say. But yeah, I was considering going live from the Tense page or going live from my own personal page, because it's MS Awareness Week, and I think it's interesting. It's an interesting disease, and especially meeting more people. Like I was diagnosed last November. Long story short, I got sick. My eye stopped working, and I had a lot of trouble walking. And it turned into a bit of a thing. And when I got out of the hospital, and kind of started going forward with it, and started posting my hospital brain jail tour diary, basically. Just the amount of other people that kind of messaged me with their story, and other people that I found out had MS as well, and how it's impacted them. And it's definitely a tough thing if you're in music, or you're in the arts, or you're doing something that is demanding of your body physically. Because I just, like, long story short with it, like when I got out of the hospital, and Dead Set had our tour with Fozzy, and like, full disclosure, like, I was letting everybody know that, like, yeah, we're still good to do this. None of the doctors have said don't go do this yet. Stay home or whatever. They all said just kind of like live as normal and just kind of go from there. And yeah, just that tour, because I was getting better as the tour kind of started. But I remember when I got home and I hadn't sat on my drums for a few weeks, and a big part of playing drums is your balance, and it's your core strength. And when your balance is bad, like, I had a lot of trouble walking. I had a lot of trouble, like, in public, because I couldn't kind of see where I was going. Like, I wasn't blind, but like, things were not crisp. And so there's that. But also, when you kind of feel like you're on a boat, that's not helping either. And it's not a dizziness. It was just like an unbalanced thing. It just, imagine, trying to think of a way to even describe it. Yeah, it's hard to describe, because it's not an unbalanced thing. It's just, I felt like I was walking on a waterbed or something. Like, it was just not really. Definitely dated myself at the time at waterbeds, but it just felt really uneasy. And just the idea of coming home and playing drums the first time, like, okay, like, I'm just gonna run through the set I've played 150, probably 250 times. It was not good. I did not feel good at all, and I'm like, I just need to see how I feel tomorrow. Like, I know that the guys would be okay if I needed to pull the plug on this short notice. And I had a couple other drummers in mind as well, if we needed to grab somebody for at least the Canadian dates, and maybe the guys could do acoustic on the way home. But yeah, it's just like, it was painful, not physically painful, but just like mentally and emotionally painful to do that first part of that tour, because I didn't feel like I was able to play to my full potential, which is what it is. I feel like I get torched by a lot of drummers constantly on the road, but it's just like, I wasn't sure if that might be the last time I get to go tour, or because I'm not sure how I was feeling. I'm not sure I would want to go back on the road for that long, if that's how I was feeling, because it did suck a lot. But I'm feeling a lot better now. Like to kind of fast forward with things. Like I've been on my meds for um, almost a year now. Like I think we're just shy of like one more month. Yeah, I think it started in yeah, so either started in March or April. But I haven't had any side effects. My blood work's come back pretty good. Still hoping my white blood cell count goes up a little bit, but that being said, no, I've been pretty good overall health wise, and also going into it, the doctors did say like it's nice that you're physically active. Um, you know, don't drink, don't smoke. So it's like some of those things factor in as well. Good, decent diet, blood work comes back pretty good. So that's helped. To bring it back around again, um, there's a lot of I believe there's a lot more people that probably have MS than the numbers show. Because like originally I just felt groggy. I didn't feel like something was really wrong. I just felt like I was tired. And the idea was probably a lot of people just have another coffee or just try to take another nap or just get to bed earlier. I think a lot of people probably wouldn't go to the doctor, and then maybe something mild would a mild flare up, um, and then they would just kind of keep on it as usual. So I was just say with MS, it's like it comes in a lot of different forms. You might not recognize it. In one of the major MS clinics in Toronto here at St. Mike's Hospital, um, when you're in the room, like the waiting room, and you look around, you probably don't know who's a patient and who's there as support or who's there as a friend or family. And then you see somebody that has like intense symptoms like eye problems, walking problems, like speech problems, like just issues. You're like, okay, are they in a wheelchair? You're like, okay, like they have MS. So like you can't really tell most of the time. I would say people that are living with it or do have it. So definitely something to keep in mind with the awareness. It's like it's not necessarily what you see on commercials all the time. That being said, too, well, it's just two more points I was kind of wanted to bring up. It's like this past year, because everyone asks me how I'm doing, but it's like a big part of it. Like my symptoms flare up, not necessarily flare up, but like I started to feel them a little bit when I exert myself from exercising or playing drums or playing hockey. Hockey's great because my balance starts to go a little bit, and I kind of get a warm buzz. Like I don't feel drunk, but I feel like I've had, if you've had a couple shots. I know I said I don't drink, but um, the idea you've had a couple shots and you feel kind of warm and tingly. It's like that's kind of what I have. And in hockey, it's great because if you fall down because your balance is gone screwy, it's like, well, you're covered in equipment, so it's fine. But like your judgment doesn't go. It's just your body feels a bit wonky. So even at the gym, if I'm on the treadmill for 10, 15 minutes running, it's like I know after that there's a point where like I can't run on it anymore because I feel like I'm gonna fall and end up on YouTube or TikTok or something. Um, so the idea of like people ask me how I'm doing, it's like I think I know what my new normal feels like, and my new normal doesn't feel like how I remember my old normal was because my balance is always a little funky. Um, and yeah, I can't move as quick as I used to. And it's one of those things where you just kind of you come to terms with some of those things. But that being said, like my neurologist has been great, family and my wife's been great, friends have been great. Again, management, bandmates, they've all been great too. Just asking me, if I want to do things, like we can do them. If I don't feel comfortable doing them, then we'll figure it out. So anyways, yeah, it's MS Awareness Week, so I just wanted to say a few things about that. If anyone has any questions, I'll do my best to answer them. Bringing it back to like we talk about with what's going on health wise right now, the idea where uh, the illness is affecting people that are the elderly or already have existing health issues or have compromised immune systems. I'm in that group with the compromised immune system. I do have a decreased white blood cell count because of my meds, so that's something to keep in mind too. It's like when things started kind of happening online, it's like, well, that I'm in that group that's at risk. So that makes it a bit tricky when you're trying to decide, do you want to go tour or do you want to try to avoid things for a little bit just to stay healthy. That being said, I've seen not many people go on tour and not get a cold or flu, especially during certain times of the season. So not to say you can sidestep all illness. There's enough hand sanitizer or masks or anything to kind of keep you safe from that. But that was another kind of wrench in the plans with trying to go out, because it's like, well, we kind of need to wait for things to get a handle on it before we can head back out on the road. So, or before real talk, before I'm super comfortable going back out, because I think, I think Brendan and Dane would feel bad if we went out and I ended up getting super sick and dying. So, at least I hope they'd feel like even just a little bit bad. Even though I'd probably tell them I'm fine, but I hope they'd feel a little bit bad if that happened. All right, back to more fun talk. Stocking up on supplies. What's your top 3? Put your top 3 things. If you only get 3 things at a store, what do you need? Zach asked, what are early signs for somebody to recognize they may have MS? When I was at my GP, because I waited 2 weeks to go to my doctor, because I just felt tired and I didn't want to go to the doctor. I know we've got free healthcare, but it's like I didn't want to go to the doctor and say, I feel tired or I feel groggy. Like, that's not a good enough reason to go to the hospital. And I kind of made a decision after a couple of weeks. I actually went to an optometrist as well, and I had them look, because my eye wasn't working. Like, my right eye wouldn't track stuff. If I was to do this, it would just keep looking straight. And so when I went for dinner with my wife and her friend, and I was trying to always put things on my side, like on my left side, so that it was always kind of there, and I could just use my left eyeball to see what was going on. And just at dinner, it was so uncomfortable, and I kind of made the decision after that, because they were heading off to a live taping for a podcast, and I was like, okay, I'm not far away from one of the hospitals I know has MRI and has, like, they've got the machines there that I think I'm gonna need. And for me, the talking back to somebody might recognize they have MS. My GP, when she saw my eyes started to go, she's like, I didn't want to jump to conclusions there, because like, you're not in pain or anything, but we'll just kind of see how this plays out. That was one of the things, and just talking, because she gave me pills for or meds for vertigo, and I'm just like, I don't think it's vertigo, because like, I don't feel dizzy, I don't feel like the world's all gone crazy. It's like, so those are some of the signs. But yeah, sight, like your vision, motor skills, walking, balance, like those are signs. But all that being said, which kind of leads to one of the funnier moments of like, you can't make this stuff up. When I was finishing, I actually, it's in my blog too if you want to read it, but long story short, one of the tests I need to do to kind of diagnose you with MS in the St. Mike's Clinic, the MS clinic, they won't accept you as a patient if you don't get a lumbar puncture done, which is when they put a needle into your spine and drain some spinal fluid, and they're able to do that, also known as a spinal tap. So for any rock fans out there, that's one of the all-time great music/band movies of ever. And so to hear that I needed to get a spinal tap before I could leave, and they're explaining it to me, I'm like, this sounds like it sucks pretty bad. I ended up getting that done. It's all in the blog, but that's kind of like the main way to figure out if you have MS or not. That being said, it's not painful. It just looks hilarious on paper what they're doing to you. So, but yeah, no, recognize the signs of MS. It's your balance, your sight, motor skills, your eyeball might stop working. There's so many things. There's so many things that can be signs, but yeah, I hit a point where my thing too in life. I've had enough friends and family that work in medicine. They say when your eyes start to do weird stuff, like that's usually a pretty big red flag, and so I was feeling that. But also with the healthcare thing for me in this country, when your quality of life is impacted, that's when you should go to the hospital. When you're like, I can't function, and I had to hit a point where like I couldn't drive. I had my wife drive me to hockey, so at least I could still go play hockey. But like I couldn't drive. I couldn't see fast enough to be comfortable behind the wheel. So Kim's saying, I think we'll understand. You got to protect you, so we can have you longer. That's very nice of you. I'm doing my best to try to protect me. That's definitely high on my priority list. So, Roxy, how's it going? Dane, how's it going? Oh, wanted to mention too. I already talked about music fans and how there's a lot of cancellations for concerts. If you want to watch concerts, hop on YouTube. There's tons and tons of full live concerts on there with super high production value. Dane posted earlier that he wanted to do a concert live stream. If you're in a band, this is your moment. I've been talking about this for a long time about live streaming concerts. We had the Elmo Combo in Toronto, just it's announcing that it's opening April 1st. It's got an amazing stage in there. It looks amazing, but also they've got the facility wired up to live stream and have it sound awesome. I've been calling this for years. This is where bands need to be focusing their time on. It's one thing to sit and do acoustic stuff, but the idea of trying to live stream live rock concerts. There's a few business models around that as well, but yeah, I saw Dane post that. Cleopatra, I think, posted earlier too that they're going to live stream one of their concerts, like a full concert with 3 bands and stuff. So if you are in a band, like, now is a really, really, really good time to up your game with live streaming, and live stream consistently. And that being said, with bands too, like, watch how Twitch streamers do stuff. They are killing it when it comes to live streaming. I dabbled there for maybe 6 months just to kind of get a handle on what they were doing and how the whole system worked, because I saw that stream, be it gaming or be it musicians, taking over in the near future. And if you're in a band and you're curious how to run your live streams or how to do it properly, go on YouTube, watch some streaming advice from some of the content creators there. It is gold right now. Any questions? Questions before I head out here? I think I've been on here for a while now. Update on the record. Got the masters back today from our good friend Peter Letros at Record House Mastering. I've sent it off to the guys who I listened through. I think it sounded pretty good on my end. I thought the mixes sounded pretty good. I think the masters sound pretty good. So hopefully we can get that uploaded to CD Baby and in the queue. It's still aiming to come out May 1st. Thanks to everyone again that's been taking part in the pre-sale. That all helps a lot. Again, people wondering where the funds go for that. It goes into tour support. Straight up goes into tour support. So, we're doing what we can to get on the road, and it definitely costs a couple dollars to keep a band on the road. As lean as we are, we're just a 3-piece right now. But again, thanks to everybody that's been taking part with that. Any questions? Any questions? For I'll still another 5 minutes, and then I should get back to work. And back to work tonight kind of means eat dinner and maybe play Mario RPG for a bit. Melanie, how's it going? Has it been 50 minutes already? This has flown by. Jessica, my lovely wife, says not funny. She's probably talking about me saying that if I go on tour and I die, hoping that Brendan and Dane might feel a little bad about it. I'm sure they would. I'm sure they would. But just as my final breath, they'd be like, we do feel bad about this. We do feel bad about this. I'm trying to think of something funny to add on that, something that they would ask me. They'd be like, we do feel bad about this. What time's bus call tomorrow? Jessica, have a great night. Lily, how's it going? I'm just about to finish up here. Gotta get back to work, aka eat dinner and play some video games. Oh, I was gonna make a joke too online with the whole toilet paper thing, because you see a lot of people. There's a toilet paper outage up here, buying paper towel. If you're a plumber, you could be very, very busy the next week or two. Because don't put it past people to try to flush that. Just don't put it past them. We have toilet paper for a reason, and paper towel is not toilet paper. So we'll see what happens, but I got a feeling there's going to be a shortage on plungers, and there's going to be a shortage of plumbers. So even if you want to open up a service, this is my $1 million idea today. If you want to open up a service where you just drive around helping plunge people's toilets, that could be an honest day's work for some people in the next couple weeks. Melanie saying, I work in the medical field. Have a great night. You as well. Gemma saying this is not a question, but the project you had help us. Oh yeah, I did an interview with Gemma. It was a couple months ago for one of her school projects. No, it was fun. I like interviews. I like questions. Questions are good. Might have to start up a more serious Dear Bands of answering questions. Might have to do that. Since I'm not supposed to leave my house for 2 weeks. So. Alright, I should get going. I think we're good. There might be a show announcement in about 10 seconds. So I think I just saw an alert pop up here that one of our shows in April has the event ready. So might do that. Thanks again, Alan, for setting that up. Alright, well, hope everyone has a great rest of their evening and a great weekend. Just be safe. More importantly, be smart the next few days. Even if you think this is all kind of overblown with a lot of the health-related stuff, just go on the side of caution for a bit. Practice the distancing, the social distancing a little bit. Take your hands. I know it's next to impossible to not touch your face, but I think the next best thing is just be mindful of anything else you're touching, and yeah, keep your hands to yourself. Hand sanitizer, even though they argue it doesn't do anything. Just do your best. Just try. Trying is half the battle usually. All right, thanks for joining, and I'll see everybody later. Try to get Dane on here soon, or Brendan, maybe both.